My name is Dave Higwood. I run a game studio in San Diego, California called Psyonix. The Unreal Engine allows us to develop much faster than we've been able to in the past, at a much lower cost. It has all of the features and the rendering capabilities, just a million kinds of tools and things that allow us to develop our games and actually focus on the game that we're making as opposed to all the technology that has to be behind it. The game's called Whizzle. It's a casual game. It's from a 2D perspective, and you're a fuzzy little character named Whizzle that swims around underwater. The Unreal Engine saves us a lot of time because it allows our designers to build game prototypes really quickly using their editor, using their tools, making game characters do what we want them to right out of the box. We don't have to spend a lot of time designing the technology that allows us to do these things. We can just get right in and try things out. We can immediately add lights, we can immediately add materials and effects to that. So a designer who understands the engine can prototype something in just a few hours that would take, without the engine, it could take weeks or even months. Kismet is an in-editor scripting system. A lot of parts of building a game are scripting things and making game events work. So Kismet allows us to have one of our designers actually go in and use a visual interface to define what is going to happen in sort of an event-driven system. So, for instance, we may want to activate music. We can simply drop down a level started event, and then we draw a line from that to play the music. And it's as simple as that, but it allows level designers to go in and very quickly do different kinds of game events that normally you'd have to have a programmer come in and do. And they can do it very quickly and very instantly and actually see the results immediately. So this is FAT, the Unreal Physics Asset Tool, and this allows us to preview what our character's physics animations are going to look like right in editor. So he's able to manipulate our character and move him around in a kind of a ragdoll mode where his body parts are kind of flapping around and so on. And basically we can see how that reacts and we can tweak parameters until we get exactly what we want. The Physics Asset Tool is just another example of how we can go into the editor and what we see is what we get. We can do it right from the beginning. We can use this actually in our prototyping of the game. We don't have to leave it for later when we're getting really intense in development. We can add this as part of our prototyping phase and actually see what we're doing. That saves an enormous amount of time. You don't have to have a whole team of programmers coming up with how are we going to build this physics system and how are we going to coordinate with our art team and our level design team to understand exactly what they want to do. Well, water's always been a big challenge in games, trying to make it look good and look accurate. One of the advantages of using the UDK is that we got to use some of the systems specifically designed for Gears of War. In particular, we use something called the Fluid Surface Actor, which in games like Gears of War is used for when a character walks across the surface of water and you actually see the water disturb. We took it a little bit further and actually placed it in our underwater 2D world so that the characters are always sort of immersed in it. So anytime there's any movement on the screen, you see ripples and waves and so on. But beyond that, we actually put more layers on top of it even. We added material effects around the level that simulate caustics. We have light beams coming down in various planes and showing dust particles floating around. And then we use the post-process system to actually create a sort of wavy effect over the screen. The Unreal Editor really allows us to do a lot with animation. A lot of it can be done actually in the editor itself using the anim tree. So we have our artists build the animations in the 3D modeling programs just like normal. We import them and then we put them in a visual interface called the anim tree inside the Unreal Development Kit's editor. And the anim tree basically allows us to blend between different animations. In our particular game, We use it for, the Whizzle characters smiling and making different expressions and faces and things like that. And we can dynamically blend those animations together. You can trigger it through Kismet, you can trigger that through script, but the really great part about the anim tree editor and the thing that saves us the most time is that we can go in and we can move sliders back and forth and actually see what the final product of those animation blends are going to be. So the amazing thing about the UDK is that it's being given away for free. It's got all the features of commercial game engine, the best engine out there, Unreal Engine 3. That takes away all the excuses for making an amazing game that can actually compete with any game out there. And you've got all the tools right at your fingertips.